Kobe, I thank you for staying loyal to the purple and gold.
Let's say the Lakers didn't exist and you had a choice now where we'd like to play.
Oh man, that's tough because all I know is the Lakers.
So it's likely you'll never play for another team.
No, I wouldn't want to. You know, ever since I was a kid, I mean, I was a diehard fan, like for real.
And so it's in my blood, and this family, her father, believing in me and standing by me and all this stuff. Like I'm not gonna go anywhere. Like this is home to me.
Bill, have the Lakers reached a point of no return with Kobe Bryant?
Well, let's see. He's ripped the general manager. He's ripped the owner. He's ripped other players. He's basically ripped the city by saying you don't want to play here. I think they've reached a point of no return. Hello, Lakers, trade him now.
Listen, you're still under contract with them. Are you saying right here on this show that you want to be traded?
Yeah, I would like to be traded, yeah.
Are you saying now emphatically, regardless of what they've done, you want out of Los Angeles?
Yeah, I would like to be traded. It's tough to say that. There's no other alternative.
The Damian Lillard trade request sent shockwaves around the NBA world. The NBA's #1 loyalty member finally succumbed to the pressures of today's era. The collapse of all things good in the league. This was the end of player loyalty. Gone now are the times of Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dirk Nowitzki, and other greats that stayed the entire tenure of their career in one city. The good old days when where you were drafted to a team, you stayed with that team. Small market teams that don't have the pull of luxurious destinations or the luck of unexpected stars officially do not stand a chance. And that's not fair. Why should players have autonomy over where they go in their career? Why do they get the freedom to choose to the detriment of teams that chose them, that nurtured them, that cared for them? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. I'm all for player empowerment. The phrase, it's just a business, I feel like gets thrown around a lot. And I think a double standard exists for both players and teams. If you're Derrick Rose, you don't get a say, you're just shipped off to New York. If you're LeBron James and you decide to leave Cleveland, all of a sudden you're a traitor. Obviously, that's changed now, and those are some pretty extreme examples. But undoubtedly, in the NBA, there's been an emphasis on player loyalty. And that's more expected of the player to remain loyal to the team than the team to remain loyal to the player. And what happens inevitably? There arise golden standards of loyalty that the reminiscers of the good old days always refer back to. The latest and greatest example of this is Kobe Bryant, the fabulous and luminarious Laker, the epitome of loyalty. 20 years, 5 rings, never bullied his GM.
Those are the pills you take to keep it short. Those diet pills.
He's the epitome of the Laker faithful, the type of guy to have murals all across the city. Wait, what? Juan Toscano Anderson? How does he have a mural? He played like 30 games for them. Oh, heard you. Bottom line, Kobe Bryant is the Los Angeles Lakers. No way he'd request a trade, right? But the Lakers PR was and is generational, so we don't hear about that much. When you think of Kobe, one of the first things you think of is loyal. And one of the last things you think of is that he wanted to leave. Thrice. But the fact of the matter is, he did. So does that make Dame right? There's a video that I get back to about every year. I watch interviews and videos just to remind myself how he was and, to keep the memories fresh. One of these videos, if you haven't seen, there's a conversation at USC, the school that his daughter ended up attending. It was about an hour long and it was essentially USC glazing Kobe, which, personally, I don't see anything too wrong with. Staples Center is like literally 5 minutes away. Wait, it's called Crypto now, right? Why is that? What the heck? Oh, dang, you on top of it, Kid Kame, shoot. But yeah, they bring in multiple alumni of the school to come and talk with Kobe, some students as well. It's a great time. One of the alumni end up being Jeannie Buss, the current owner and owner back then of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the following discourse is what made me believe for the longest time that Kobe was a Laker for life. This is the daughter of the late, great Dr. Jerry Buss, and arguably their biggest star, Kobe Bryant, and they take up the almost entire 10-minute or so section just talking about
You were a Laker for life, and you were.
Thank you. This is family, man. This is home to me. What about me makes you think I would jump ship?
Which, of course, is excellent posturing and completely believable. He's at USC, he's literally 5 minutes away from his old stomping grounds, and the owner of the Lakers came in to surprise him post-retirement. So there's been time to reflect, and with reflection comes kindness most of the time. A mellowing of sorts, sort of like a blunting of the blade. That time when he was in a sheer rage and was destroying property. Now it's...
I flipped a few tables. Maybe more than a few tables.
What's going on, bro? That's all haha now, but at some point, Kobe was dead serious.
Is there anything that the Los Angeles Lakers could do to make you change your mind and decide that you do not want to be traded?
No.
Nothing.
No.
And this is contrary to what was reported in the 2013 Adrian Wojnarowski article, which is, we got to talk about Woj, I ain't gonna lie, because there's some sneaky, fishy stuff going on there, man. In the article, it says that Kobe wanted to leave, Dr. Buss came to his house, and all of a sudden, it hit me that I didn't really want to walk out on Dr. Buss. Bryant told Yahoo Sports on Monday. But it was more so that they only had a trade available to Detroit. And Kobe didn't want to go. In 2015, we got his real answer.
Is it true that you squashed your own trade in Detroit in 2007?
That is true.
To Detroit?
That is true.
And they laid it out to you and they said, you can go to Detroit, here's your team.
And I said, I gave you a list of teams that I'm comfortable being traded to. That was one of them. So no.
So who was on the list?
Not Detroit.
Chicago?
Chicago was
Chicago came close.
My number one.
Now, this time in 2007 wasn't the first time that Kobe tried to demand a trade. The so-called Laker faithful was honestly just as much as the Black Mamba moniker, which we're gonna talk about in another video too, because that's a doozy, was some great PR from the parties at play. Honestly, if you look into it, most NBA superstars that are famous for staying with one team for a long time demanded a trade at some point. Hakeem, Kareem, Tim Duncan. Dirk Nowitzki might be the only one standing, and that's probably because they have a heavy case of Europhilia in Dallas. The reason stars stayed on for so long back in the day, and not so much anymore, was because they were winning. Take the only 3 players in NBA history to remain with one team for 20 seasons. Mr. Heat Culture himself, Udonis Haslem, 20 seasons, 3 rings. Tim Duncan in San Antonio, 5 rings. Then, of course, Kobe Bryant, who, after winning with Shaq 3 times in a row, was at a crossroads. Simply put, where Jeannie said at USC,
We couldn't take losing and how angry you would get.
I know. That's probably what it is.
We were scared.
That literally translates to that they flat out lied to Kobe Bryant and let the blame be put onto him as to the reason why Shaq left. That's probably what you thought it was, right? But really, the whole time, Dr. Jerry Buss just didn't want to pay Shaquille O'Neal. Quote, Kobe was told by him, he's old, this and that and the third, we're not paying him. Somehow, that parlayed to the media a few years later in the form of Kobe wanted Shaq gone, and that's why he left. To where Kobe, on live national radio with Stephen A. Smith, denounced these claims.
They're trying to throw me out there saying I was responsible for it now. I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to settle for that. And, I had to step up and voice my opinion and let people know what actually went down.
And get this, Shaquille O'Neal himself said that he believed Kobe 1,000%, not 100.
This was his quote. He said, I believe Kobe Bryant 100%. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind Kobe is telling the truth. I believe him 1,000%. I would have respected Dr. Buss more as a man if he would have told me that himself, because I know he said it, but he didn't tell me that. He never said a damn word to me.
And it gets worse. Apparently, the front office promised Kobe a competitive roster after Shaq took his leave, and told Phil Jackson at the same time that they'd be rebuilding.
Well, they told Phil in this exit meeting that, they were scaling back, and this is in 04. They told him that they were scaling back and wanted to get under the cap and had a long-term plan to do that. And, they told me the complete opposite of that. So
wow, yeah, that's a lot. So the Lakers organization essentially lied to 2 of their biggest stars in franchise history simultaneously, and the greatest coach they've ever had, all at the same time, and to Kobe Bryant specifically in more than one way, and then attempted to cover their tracks. Well, Kobe wasn't going for that, not one bit.
I just don't see how you can, rebuild that trust. I just don't know how you can move forward in that type of situation. Don't tell me one thing and then do another.
Now, thanks to a good bit of revisionist history, we all see Kobe as the face of Laker faithful, the guy who would never turn his back on his team. I mean, he literally says it in the interview with Jeannie Buss. And then Jeannie says something like,
It might have been easier for you to leave, and, you didn't, and that,
whole time, Dr. Buss was ready to ship Kobe out to Detroit. And the only reason it didn't happen was because Kobe had his no-trade clause, which I want to talk about for a little. Because, seriously, what is it supposed to do? In all of NBA history, there have only been 10 no-trade clauses. It's the guys you'd expect, the 4-lifers, Dirk, Timmy D, Dwayne Wade, John Stockton. These guys all had them. It's a vote of confidence from the team that they're signing with, essentially saying that, hey, we're not going to let you go at the drop of a hat.
Wake up. said, wake the fuck up. Sleepy time is over, little motherfucker. Let's go.
You gotta have some rep, like skin in the game in order to pull this off. 8 years in the league and 4 years on that team that you signed with. For example, Ant wouldn't be able to be offered a no-trade clause. I don't know, that's tough in Minnesota, because if Garber's still there, they finished.
Shoots a three in the real NBA game. I'm walking off the court.
Back to the no-trade clause. It's a bit awkward, isn't it? It's business, of course. Things happen and there aren't supposed to be any hard feelings. But when you're ingrained into the culture of the city, you've established years upon years of relations with the staff on the team, and more likely, if you're offered this little perk, you've probably experienced some real success with the team, some real wins, some real moments. It sort of feels like a prenup to me. That is an agreement between two people who are getting married that one person can't take all of the other person's money, even though they're getting married. It's this weird thing where a relationship's been established and it feels like it should be built upon trust. But at least in the basketball world, and pretty often in the marital world, it flat out just isn't. If Kobe went in on good faith and decided that he didn't need a no-trade clause, since he would be a Laker for life, he would have been shipped to freaking Detroit. This is coming from a franchise that apparently promotes loyalty above all else. And even crazier than that, their loyalty to him. When, at the drop of a hat, Kobe says he wants to be traded because the Lakers literally lied to him about what they were going to do with the team moving forward, they didn't even give him the luxury of his top choice, Chicago, after he gave them 8 years and 3 championships. Now, imagine Damian Lillard, who spent 11 years toiling away in Portland. No championships. Not because he wasn't good enough. Oh no, he's elevated that team to levels they should have never seen. The second round in 2014, ridiculous play. The Western Conference Finals, before which they put away the Oklahoma City Thunder in 5 with another ridiculous shot.
It actually was a bad shot.
Honestly, in my opinion, Dame's the type of guy to take the Kobe and Laker propaganda and just run with it. But what happens when you get fed up? Or even worse, the team that you pledged loyalty to gets fed up. Imagine you're Dame Lillard. It seems like everyone around you is forming these super teams. Young players are just getting better and better. And your team tells you to fake an injury for 10 games so you guys can get a better draft pick and thus trade for a better player. I mean, it feels like you're running from the grind just a little bit, but screw it, man. This team's been pretty below mid since CJ left, and the season is lost anyway. 10 more games shouldn't hurt. Boom. Calf injury. Bet. Now, through some wicked luck, y'all get the 3rd pick. This is great, you think. We're going to flip this since Scoot's probably going to be number 3. And he's definitely a number 1 in normal drafts. That's definitely enough with some assets to go ahead and get a game changer, right? So boom, you ask. Your team waffles, hems and haws, and eventually say, actually, we're going to keep it.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
Now, at this point, you're tripping. You gave 11 years to this franchise. Multiple playoff runs. All NBAs, All-Stars, all of that. You freaking took CJ and them, with all due respect, to the Western Conference Finals to fight the Golden State Warriors in 2019. And now they want to pair you with a kid, a Jit. Yeah, I don't know about you, but if I was Dave, I'd be like, okay, I forgot what loyalty means. I'd realize that I'm not running from the grind. It's my team. My team is the reason why I'm still grinding. You'd start to think, what would Kobe do? And the answer is, based on historical evidence, leave. Point blank period. If the LA Lakers didn't have Shaq in 2000, Kobe would have left. If they didn't promise to turn up in 2004, lie to Kobe Bryant, he would have been to Chicago. If they didn't get Pau Gasol in 2008, he would have been gone. Kobe would have said adios. See, this offseason, Damian Lillard finally understood. If your team doesn't give you the tools, you go get the tools yourself. Dame didn't have a no-trade clause. He was one to fully trust his franchise to rock with him. But when he realized, he's like, nah, I'm gonna make this the best for me. And so begins the messiness. Maybe that is what a no-trade clause is for. Beal, when Washington was finding trades for him, went through the process with relatively little drama. Dame, on the other hand, it was a maelstrom of chaos. Everyone in the NBA world, and I do mean everyone, was in tune with the Dame saga. Of course, it was super important to the league and its dynamics, but also because it was messy. I mean, who doesn't like a good soap opera? Dame made his choice. The Heat were the best fit, and on everything, he's gonna get it. Now, how is this any different from what Kobe would have done? He wanted Chicago. He didn't get Chicago the way that he liked, so no trade. But what if there was? Then Kobe would have forced his way from Los Angeles to Chicago, chasing the ghosts, funnily enough. Speaking of, do y'all think that Michael Jordan would have requested a trade if the Bulls were bad? Me, I'm of the opinion that he would have. I mean, like duh, like both Kobe and Michael talk about the importance of having players that wanted to win. If they weren't surrounded by those types of people, would they have wanted to be there? No. they would have just went to find some place that did. In my mind, if Kobe and MJ were in less competent front offices, they would have demanded for a trade. And gotten it too. But history, and by extension that sweet, sweet lens of nostalgia, would never have you thinking about that when Dame demanded Miami. I bet Dame himself wasn't even thinking about how similar he was to them. It's all about, for some reason, player empowerment is ruining the game. Whoop-de-whoop. But hold time. If some of our greats were in Dame's shoes, they would have done the same thing, probably. I mean, we know now. Kobe basically did. Thanks for watching.